You are now tuned into the sounds of
tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
And as always, thank you, Mr. Anthony Haney, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell, the Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, episode 471. This episode, I know it's been a little bit since you last saw the last episode. Before we get into it, couple things. This episode, we're talking about the Washington Commanders Week 3 and Week 4's recap. I have a special guest with me, who will join me for this episode. Painfully, we'll have to talk about the Baltimore Ravens in the next episode, 472. The WNBA semifinals is, as of now, with the Las Vegas Aces and the Indiana Fever. The winner of Game 5 will advance to the WNBA Finals as the Phoenix Mercury defeated the Minnesota Lynx, and they're just awaiting who will play them. And then we will probably do a finals preview. There's some other things I want to talk about because there's some other things that have happened since the last episode playoff preview, which we did 2 weeks ago. But I appreciate the support you're giving me and the channel here on this podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. And also, too, Maryland football is back this week. Maryland had a bye week after its win over University of Wisconsin. So we'll talk about that along as we get ready for the game against Washington this Saturday. But with that all being said and done, let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend himself. One half of that dynamic duo, ladies and gentlemen. None other than Mr. Sean Spencer. Ooh. Sean, what's going on, buddy?
What is up? What's going on, man? How you doing, Big Nate? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Sir. You too.
All right. So this week, the Washington Commanders played the Atlanta Falcons, but we wanted to touch really quick on the Raiders victory. That was a little underwhelming. Even though that was a win for us, it was a home game for us. We did win. When I say underwhelming, at first it felt like that. But 41-24, Marcus Mariota had his first start as Jaden Daniels was dealing with an injury. But because he missed most of the training camp, Marcus Mariota, he had tendonitis actually in his Achilles, if I remember correctly. So just your overall thoughts on that game against the Raiders.
Well, I mean, look, anytime you go into a game without your starter, you just wish for the best. And we had a 2-game stretch. We're going to talk about the second one, and we ended up going 1-1, and this is the one that we won. And I'm going to be very honest with you. You and I have talked a lot about, Washington, where starters are fine, but the depth is something we're concerned with. And that starts at quarterback. Marcus Mariota, for everything he did before, recently we were kind of worried what we were going to get. And this kind of reassured me. I'm not going to lie to you. Both games, to be quite honest with you. He kept us in there. He made us look relevant. And some even argue that his chemistry was a little bit better, it seemed.
Yes.
With the wide receivers. So, I'm not trying to start any controversies or anything like that. But,
nope, absolutely. Did you see the one play how it was the give and go, and he faked it, he went to his right, he gave 20-15 drives, and when he got cracked, he fumbled.
Come on. Come on. I look, Nate. I thought this. I was waiting for this man to run towards the end zone, throw it to the defender, have the defender tap it back to him catch
Mhm.
it, and then run for the touchdown like
Yeah,
he did
that's
at
what I thought.
Tennessee.
That's what I thought.
You know what I mean? I'm waiting for that to come back. But you know what? I mean, honestly, it was really good to see him doing well, the running
Absolutely.
game doing well, Jalen Lane returning the punt. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? All the way, our special teams doing well. I mean,
Yep.
this is a team in Raiders that I thought was going to be really good, and seeing kind of how we handled it with our backups, very impressed. I
Yeah,
like that.
I agree. I know Coach Quinn's really kind of put an emphasis on the special teams because
Mhm.
Luke, McCaffrey, Debo, and Jalen they all had what 245 yards on
Return, yeah.
eight yards. That was actually more than the Raiders' offense total yards until the fourth quarter.
Mm,
Um, so I mean, you remember Jalen Lane, his punt return. We hadn't seen that since Lord, it's 2016.
right, right.
So I really like that. Um, Gino, from the offensive perspective, I was really confused on what they were doing offensively. I saw the stat. When you pressure him, like I think he's like tops. I can't remember where it was, but when you pressure him, he just the tendency to just throw the long ball
Mm,
really gets to him because we like over 40 yards in the game. That's the
mm.
11th since since he's been our offensive coordinator. But I mean, outside of the, we really kind of made it tough for Gino.
Hmm.
I can't tell how many times he ran out the pocket. Um, he
Hmm.
was sacked what 5 times.
Five. Yep, we got some
Um,
five.
so how did you like our run game?
I mean, I mean, quite honestly, anytime you rush if for 200 yards, it's a good thing
Mm-hmm.
by one person or in the collective. And I think honestly, that's kind of what spearheaded the offense. I've always said that kind of with even with Jaden, he's great, but he is elite when you have a
Mm-hmm.
viable run game. And this is something we've been thinking about. McNichols got in the action with 78. You got Mariota running the ball, and I think that's the most underrated part of it. We all know McNichols, Rodriguez, Bill, Krosky Merritt. You know, we're looking for them to do something. But one of the things that I had an issue with as far as when it came to depth at quarterback was you're not going to get the same elite mobility out of Mariota that you're going to get out of JD5.
Yep.
Well, like you just said earlier, Mariota was 2015 Mariota. Mariota was running and gunning, and it kind of like, ooh, okay, okay. You just like, what's that Shaq meme?
Yeah, outside outside the fumble, but other than that, I mean, he looked good because his
Right.
decision making was really. He looked good.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
did
no,
have
I was impressed with the run game for sure.
absolutely. I did have one to ask you about Alshon Aston Genty
Mm,
because in this game he really kind of was ineffective, and I saw this after the game. I think it was on Get Up or whatever. Obviously, we talked about him when we had you on here, Ryan
mm,
Clark. Um,
mm.
once
Yeah,
again,
come on now.
put his foot in his mouth and was
Hmm.
like, "Well, he's not that dude." And it's like, well, did you see Geno Smith get sacked 5 times? Did you see him
Mm.
like, um, what is your outlook on Genty?
Look, honestly, look, we all expected what we saw in Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, this is the NFL, very different. All the top 1%. This is all, and also the NFL, they have plenty of time to scheme to what you're going to be. He didn't start off well. He has been slowly getting going, and he only had like 60 some odd yards against us. But then he's been able since us. He got what a buck 38 against
He's
Chicago.
in Chicago, yeah.
You know what I mean?
My
So
understanding was they changed his stance
okay,
when
he
he
went
was at,
back to the.
yeah,
Did he go back to the high?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, look, he's. This is you've talked about it many times. people are so quick and ready to judge and get this guy out of here. Oh, he's a bust. He's a this, that. It's 4 games into the season. Let the man play. The fact that he got his first 100-yard game, I'm loving that. And let's let him go. I did have a little bit of, is he really not? But you got to think of what is he dealing with? What is he dealing with at the Raiders? If Geno is struggling, then that means you have to depend on the run game, which means that they're not worried about the pass and they're going to load the box. You know what I mean?
Which they did.
Exactly.
But also too, we mentioned Trey Tucker. It was the Trey Tucker game.
Yeah.
If Lattimore got hurt, I can't remember where the Trey Amos got hurt as well. So they kind of went more just relying to we got to bet in the run and hopefully get something in the air. So,
but see, this is the thing that kills me because we were dominating them, and then all of a sudden, my man bust out for 3 touchdowns, and it's like. It's like, all right, I know we don't have to worry about it, but man, can y'all please stop him, please? I mean,
And you know what's funny? I had a chance to get him on waivers in the fantasy league, and it was like 25 fantasy points, and I was like, "Hey, here's who'd I have? It was somebody, and he only gave me like 10." Fantastic. So, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that was really week 3. And we both talked about it in the previous episode. Where's Jaden going to play? And we both were kind of like on the fence, like, no, we don't suspect it because why aggravated knee injury? Rest and Marcus. He has
and PTSD from RG3.
Bingo. So
be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So. JMC looked good out there. Defense looked spectacular. The special teams, it's all starting to click. Just the biggest thing is I'm noticing so far is just the injuries. But I think we should be okay. Let's take a little, just a quick break, and then we're going to talk about this past weekend, the victory against those dirty birds. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and we got to talk about it. After the Carolina Panthers, and really quick, so I'm big on fantasy football. I don't do that sports betting. I don't do that. After getting blanketed by the Carolina Panthers last week, the Atlanta Falcons this week looked totally different. The Atlanta Falcons defeated the Washington Commanders 34-27.
Game over, yeah!
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
So this is our second loss of the year. I'm going to give you the floor, sir. What did you see from your perspective on the game?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. If this was Sunday, You might hear the D's and the H's and all the crazy stuff, but honestly, when you go back and look at it, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that we got a slow start. It's disappointing they jumped up to an early lead. We're fighting from behind with backups, with all the injuries. No JD5, no Terry McLaurin, and then obviously the injuries we have on defense. But when you look at it schematically, when you look at it kind of like in matchups, as far as our offense, once it got clicking, then we started turning it up. We only had Debo, Noah and McLaurin were out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got running backs. We got Ertz. Ertz played big, but we did the best with what we had, and with the run game. But our defense couldn't. It kept giving everything up, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, listen, I get
That's
it.
on my notes. Number one.
Yeah, I mean, I love Wagner. I love my guy, and maybe this is with the scheme. Maybe this is. He should never be one-on-one with a running back, especially not a running back.
He should play game like Bijan.
No. Right, especially like Bijan, Saquon. We saw what happened in the championship game with Saquon. He should never be in that situation. But here's the other part: the secondary ain't covering well, and the D line ain't getting any pressure. So if Penix has all day to throw, eventually you're going to pick apart the defense. If you're a good quarterback like he is. There's a lot of negatives, but I am encouraged on how we kept fighting, kept pushing back, kept getting, into the end of the game, made it close towards the end of the game. But at the end of the day, that defense, man, we looked our age. Miller, where was Von Miller? You know what I mean? Lattimore, you know how I feel about him, so.
I'm looking at my notes. I'm gonna pick it off with the defensive line. We, there was no pass rush on my here.
None.
We only managed one sack and two quarterback hits. I actually went back and looked at the game. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what Carolina did different the week before.
Right.
That's something I was flustered. I understand, coming into the off season, we really tried to fix the run defense, but I feel like we've now sacrificed our pass defense. You mentioned Bobby Wagner, trying to with Bijan. That can't happen because Bijan finished with 17 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. The secondary, I know you touched on that. I get it. You got Kyle Pitts, and one of my friends, shout out to AJ, Drake London. He was like, I think this might be a trap game for Washington, and I was like.
It was a mismatch game. When you really break it down and look at it, you talk about our secondary struggling. They had a Drake London. They had Pitts. Both of these guys were due. Both of them got their first touchdowns of the season, receiving touchdowns of the season. They have size and they have ability. If their quarterback has all day, he's going to find them. Now, I will say Pitts later in the game, when they were kind of putting it away, got that one catch where it was clearly a push-off.
That should have been, and
they called it on us,
and that should have been on Atlanta.
I was on the road. I was pissed. I was like, "Are you serious? What? I didn't even say it." But
just really quick, I want to make this comment. I'm not going to say much because I spoke to you earlier on the phone before we ever started this, but there was something that occurred today in sports. And most people already know, but this is what we're talking about when it comes to officiating. I understand officials aren't going to get it right every night, every afternoon, but stuff like that, especially if in the playoffs, for example, that's egregious. That's where I can agree with stuff like that, but But yeah, the Cameron, a shot to Cameron, he talked about this with Lattimore. Was this a bad trade? No, I don't think so. I just think it's just the system. Do I think we gave up too much? Yes. I really see. You also got to give it to this one. He's been hurt. In fairness, I really kind of would give him. I put him in the nickel. Honestly, go ahead.
You know what I keep asking myself?
Mhm.
We know the Saints are rebuilding, okay, and they're tearing it down to the bare bones, right? And they're keeping only the core, the Kamara, Jordan. Why would they give up their all-pro stud corner?
Well, the problem also too, and I know
He couldn't stay on the field.
that too. Stay on the field because the best ability is availability.
Very true.
And also too, you and I, ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, Sean and I are very we're brothers at the hip almost, but we're really passionate about when it comes to football in terms of, especially on the business side. And he has this belief of salary cap is not is a lie. But if you look, and I use Spotrac as a reference, the Saints, I think as of not last year before, they had the most, like their salary cap was like the minuscule. Like you couldn't even spend like on the
pinch of pennies.
Pinch of pennies. And unfortunately, when you've spent that kind of money, you're going to have to make some decisions and say, okay, well, I might have to cut this player. I might have to trade that player. I might have to restructure. Like
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara, respectfully, after this year, he might have to come off the books. Well, let me see who I could trade. Now, Washington, respectfully, we didn't have to make that trade. What we gave up. But like, is the experiment over? No, because respectfully, we've only played 4 games.
Right.
We got to give this some time. I don't think it's a fail. I mean, we saw flashes of him last year. I think it can work. I feel like if you just put him in the nickel, the slot,
it could work.
It could work.
Maybe not, because the man is still old as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with you. He holds. And we've seen what happens if you get a Mike Evans or a AJ Brown, a big body receiver. They depot him. I mean, I'm be like,
yeah.
A lot of it is not all on him. Sam still struggled. Amos struggled, like you mentioned. Like these guys, a lot of these guys in the secondary, and then we didn't have Percy Butler.
Yeah, Percy Butler that too.
You know what I mean? So there was reason for struggle. Like we understand why, and then coupling that with the lack of pass rush. So we get it, but it just seems like every time you turn around, Lattimore is trailing a guy. Lattimore is missing.
Yeah.
And it almost makes you kind of reminisce over Benjamin St. Just. It's like, well,
or Emmanuel
he's just going to do the same thing, right? Are these guys going to do the same thing?
Well, also too, and this is also fair to point out, and this is kind of our secondary. Trey Amos, rookie. Noah
Ignahi.
Yep. Okay. Okay. And then Mike Saracel. Situational.
Decent, yeah.
And then Darnell Savage, we just signed him from the Packers, University of Maryland. Jeremy Reeves, okay.
Hustle. Special teams and hustle. Yeah.
Quan Martin.
We're young, man.
We're young, and I think you're asking. See, and I think that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. When we traded for Lattimore, what were the goals?
Right.
So I don't know, but
I'm
not
just to sign a big name player.
Yeah.
I mean, are we doing? Was it Tampa Bay Bucks in 2021 or 2020 or whatever?
Yeah.
Just bringing all the top players over here. I mean, like. Yeah. I understand people. Oh, I want to play with Jaden. Well, yeah. I mean, he's a second-year guy. Like,
yeah.
You're not playing with Tom Brady. You know what I mean? So it still all has to mesh. So
yeah. but also too, like this group so far, they're young,
Yes.
and and they're also, like, again, they have the 8th toughest schedule, so they're seeing some dogs right now. So
yeah. So that's the thing.
um,
All things considering that they went 1-1 without Jaden, I'm good with that.
absolutely,
I'm good with
bingo,
that.
yep. I'm going to give. I know, shout out to you, Will Kramer. You guys did the game balls. I'm going to give one to Matt Gay
Okay.
because I know we was a little hard on him first couple
I
games.
was. I definitely was.
He made all 4 of his field goal attempts.
That's right. That's right.
So
I'm in the game.
He kept us in the game because that intentional grounding penalty, I thought took the momentum away from us. I was like, damn it, and it was kind of poor timing too. Yeah. So, and then not to add it was that false start, and yeah, and then their kicker Parker Romo, he responded after him having a crappy game himself, I think the week before. So, yeah. I know you talked about the special teams, but anything else that you would like to see going into next week for the Commanders?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about a little bit of positives, I honestly want to see the continuing emergence of Luke McCaffrey. All summer I was out on him. I told him, get out of town. Like, you're done. You're not your brother type stuff. And the guy's been proving me wrong. Two touchdowns in as many weeks and last 2 games. The guy on special teams he's turning the game around. He's changing the field position for us, which is huge. And then you talked about him, Jalen Lane, and Debo, and all the return yards. I mean, that's a threat. That's a weapon.
Big threat.
You know what I mean? It has been since Anthony Banks? I think the guy's name. Yeah, back when. Shout out to my guy Anton Benson, the only guy that ever got his jersey. And Anthony Banks is, he's like 5'2". Anton's like 6 foot, and he's 6 foot wearing his little man's jersey, so it's hilarious. But yeah, man, like Luke McCaffrey, I'm very intrigued to see kind of how he is able to elevate his game, because that could be huge for us if we can get another little slot wide receiver.
Yeah, for sure. Michael Penix Jr., we talked about him. He had a bounce back game. Shout out to him. He had a career high in passing yards, 313. What are some of my thoughts and prayers to Xavier Watts? That was scary in the kickoff in the third quarter. But he did come back because he picked off Marcus Mariota in the end zone. So, because
Walt Frazier moment.
Exactly.
He's coming back on the court.
But other than that, I want to ask you. Okay, we talked about this too in the last episode. Our running game. Now it's not Bill. It's not Markowski. I'm JMC. I think he's fine. Our run game as a whole. I know we're running that trio. But do you have any concerns as we go next week against the Chargers?
I do. We seem to be running back by committee, and a lot of it is also very dependent on what the quarterback can do. As we've seen, this game, Mariota had 20. I think he had like 40 or 50 a week ago, and in the Raiders game. So that is something that's heavily predicated on our offense. So if you're able to do that and the misdirection and all those things, so they're working at it. They got Debo kind of coming in the backfield to get it. Yep. So we have a more sustainable run game, more dependable run game. So you're excited about that, but I mean, is sustainable, I think, is the question. Is what I meant to say. Like, can it keep going? Because while we got over 200 yards against the Raiders, we barely got 150 yards in this one against Atlanta. Mind you, we got down big early, so kind of takes away the run game, but still, it's Krosky, Merritt, and Rodriguez, which is good. Get them in the game, get them going, keep going, and your favorite question. What's your identity?
Identity.
You know what I mean? with this, that needs to be our identity. Run the ball, play action, play good defense and special teams.
I agree. And ladies and gentlemen, that's actually going to end this episode. The Washington Commanders play this Sunday against the Chargers. It's a road game, 4:25. So I hope that they don't go through the same thing the Baltimore Ravens went through. But I'm going to leave Sean's YouTube channel in the description below. Sean, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. We will bounce back. And the Washington Commanders will be just fine, ladies and gentlemen. But until then, please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. Please stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. Check on loved ones, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you.